Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. My name is Jess Larkin, and I am the Marketing and Communications Specialist at Cornerstone. I'm your host for the Build Your Brand webinar series and your go-to gal for all of your marketing questions. I want to help you build a brand that's focused on growth. Today, we're talking productivity and getting more done each day. But before we get into that, I'll start with a little bit of housekeeping. My contact information is right there on the screen if you'd like to get in contact with me. Also, be sure to give us a follow on social media. We post industry and Cornerstone updates and information about once or twice a week. So go to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or YouTube to give us a follow. In case you haven't heard, I'm also offering full-service marketing consultation program where I will take a closer look at your existing marketing strategies and your brand and help you take it to the next level. Some of the services I offer are brand audits, social media management, print marketing, email marketing, onboarding kits, and more. Also, all brokers participating in this program are going to receive a free brand evaluation workbook. So contact me today for details and for pricing, and let's get started. Everyone has their own productivity system that works well for them. Maybe your to-do list is very carefully curated, or maybe it's scribbled on an old napkin that you had at lunch. Maybe you thrive in very clean, orderly environments, or maybe you prefer a little clutter to inspire you. Whatever your preference is, there are a number of productivity systems and tips that apply to everyone, and it's important to work with your own style. Today, we're going to be discussing a couple productivity tips that you can use to keep your work organized and to get more done throughout the day. When creating your system, it's important to work with your style, not the style that you want to try just because others are using it. So all of these tricks are designed to be customizable for you. In case you missed it, I did another webinar on productivity and time management earlier this year, and you can check that webinar out on the Cornerstone YouTube channel or the Resource Center. To start off, you need a good to-do list system, whether it's a notebook, an app on your phone, the sticky notes app on your computer, or an Excel spreadsheet. You know those tasks that pop up in your brain randomly when you're in the middle of concentrated work and you feel like you have to accomplish it now or else you'll forget? For example, let's say you're sitting at your desk and you're finally running quotes for that client and all of a sudden you think, oh, I need to remember to schedule a dentist appointment. You're likely to either A, interrupt your work to make the appointment right now, B, write it down on a piece of scrap paper that will get lost into the ether, or C, say to yourself, I'll remember to do that later, and then absolutely forget. This is where the use of a quick capture tool comes in handy. I touched on this briefly in the last webinar, so if you'd like to learn more about quick capture tools, tune into the productivity and time management webinar from earlier this year. Basically, a quick capture tool is a tool that you can use, whether that's a notebook or an app, to capture ideas or tasks and put them into a trusted system. And that system should be very easy to access and maintain. I'm talking within 1 or 2 clicks or in a notebook that fits in your back pocket. That quick. For me, I use the Google Tasks app to quickly capture any to-do list items that I have. So there's very little friction between me actually having the idea and writing it down. And you can see how I use my Google Tasks on the right-hand side. That is actually a screen cap of a list that I would use every day. So what then do you do with the tasks that you've actually captured? You have a long list of things in your notebook that you've captured throughout the day. So I personally like to separate my to-do list into categories so that they go into the right spot and so that I have context for the task. Context in your to-do is very important because it helps you prioritize tasks based on the situation that you're in. So your context could be anything, including time of day, the situation that you're in, the priority of the task, etc. So for example, if I need to remind myself to buy more shampoo, it goes into my shopping list so that when I go to the store, I can pull up the full list and buy anything that I need off of that list. If I want to remember to water my plants when I get home from work, I put that in the to-do list, which I use on a daily basis to keep my daily tasks together. If I have a nagging task like make a dentist appointment that I can't handle right now, but I definitely need to do later, I might put that on my life admin list. What is a life admin list? I'm so glad you asked. This is where I capture all of my to-dos for my life admin day. A life admin day, according to Elizabeth Emmons, author of The Art of Life Admin, is a day dedicated to checking off the little to-dos that take up brain space. This could be scheduling that appointment, sorting through that paperwork on your desk, power washing the deck, buying a new stapler, putting labels on your USB sticks, etc. Small, silly tasks that are easy to push off forever but would make a significant impact once they're done. I schedule 2 life admin days throughout the month. Usually this is on a Saturday or a Sunday. And between life admin days, I quick capture any tiny to-do list that is on my mind. Once it's on the list and I have my life admin day scheduled, I can rest assured knowing that the task is going to be completed at a specific time in the future. And that's going to leave my brain space clear for work that needs my immediate attention. You can break up your life admin into several days. You can schedule them for once a quarter. You can schedule them for every week. It's really whatever works best for you and your own system. But this is dedicated time for you to get all of those to-dos off of your plate, rather than having them stay on your list for months on end. It's important to have a productivity system in place, but it's even more beneficial to determine what times of the day you are most productive. There are a number of quote-unquote experts online that passionately sing the praises of a 5 a.m. morning routine that's complete with meditation, healthy breakfast, a 1-hour workout, journaling, etc. That's great for some people, but for others, that routine is a recipe for destroying your productivity. To manage your time more efficiently, try determining your golden hours, or the time of day that you're most productive and energetic. This could be first thing in the morning, or this may be 10 p.m. at night. It's important not to try to shrink into a box that you don't fit in. If you try to wake up early every day for a month and you're still miserable at the end of the month, you're probably waking up too early. So how do you determine what is right for you? A great way to determine your golden hours is to consider your chronotype. Stay with me. According to the Sleep Foundation, chronotype is the natural inclination of your body to sleep at a certain time, or what most people understand as being an early bird versus a night owl. Dr. Michael Bruce, who is the author of The Power of When, talks about learning to work with your body and not against it. The 4 chronotypes are lion, bear, wolf, and dolphin. You can see on this little chart here that I have those listed and what they mean. So let's go through them one by one. For the lion chronotype stands in for the early bird. These individuals wake up early and are the most productive in the morning, but they may have more trouble following a social schedule in the evening. The wolf chronotype is equivalent to the classic night owl and is believed to make up approximately 15% of the population. Dolphins, this chronotype is based on the ability of real dolphins to stay alert even when they're sleeping. So humans in the dolphin category are best described as insomniacs. And then finally, the bear. According to Dr. Bruce, the bear chronotype makes up about 55% of the population. People with this intermediate chronotype tend to follow the sun, so they do well with traditional office hours, but they also have no problem maintaining a social life in the evening. If you'd like to find out your own chronotype, you can take the quiz at thepowerofwhenquiz.com. I wrote that there at the top. That is how you can find out your chronotype from Dr. Michael Bruce. And I found that it's really helpful because it helps me manage and schedule my tasks a little bit more efficiently. So, for example, if you're a wolf, your productivity sweet spot starts at about noon. So you'll want to schedule your most demanding tasks for around that time. And personally, I am a lion, so I like to schedule most of my most demanding tasks for between 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. when I am the most focused. So demanding tasks might be taking phone calls, doing some project management work, doing a little bit of writing, things that take up a little bit more brain power. So for the rest of the workday, I'll schedule lighter tasks like doing design work or doing admin work because I know that my energy levels are going to be a little bit lower. Now, let's talk about productivity in the midst of chaos. It's likely that you found yourself buried beneath overwhelm before, probably more than once. And we all know that feeling. Your phone is ringing off the hook, your desk is a mess, you're afraid of forgetting what you need to do for one client while you're talking to another. This is probably very familiar for a lot of you. Now, this may seem counterintuitive in the moment, but this is exactly the right time for you to do a 20-minute tidy of your mind and your space. A 20-minute tidy will not only help you reset your mind, but it will help you continue on with your day and give you a small win that will encourage your brain to keep moving in a positive direction. If you don't take the time to do a 20-minute tidy or any kind of break or rest, your work could get too far ahead of you and it might be difficult for you to get back to zero. So here's how it works. The first step is to stop what you're doing. If you can, let the phone ring and take some time to get situated. This is when you should take 3 deep breaths, put on some music, or do some light stretching. Just try to get your brain out of the overwhelm for a second. The second step is to do a brain dump. So you want to take a couple minutes to brain dump every single thing that's on your mind onto a piece of paper. And I'm talking tasks that have to do with work, to small things like remembering to pick up salsa on your way home. The third step is to categorize. This is when you put your tasks in their proper place, or adding context, just like I talked about before. This is when you add your work tasks to your daily or weekly to-do list. You add an alarm on your phone to remind you to go to the grocery store. You add Post-its with notes to documents that have to be processed. Anything to get yourself organized and situated in the situation that you're in. And then the last step is to take care of your space. Take a couple minutes to get your space back to where you like it. So put documents into a paper inbox to file later, clean out your coffee mug, get rid of the cans of ginger ale, refill your water bottle. It's important to reset yourself to zero. This gives your brain time to jump off of the fight or flight response, and it makes it easier for you to make decisions and keep up with your work. Finally, I'd like to discuss the importance of dashboards. Much like your mudroom in your house has a place to drop shoes, keys, purses, etc., I've created a sort of mudroom for my work with task lists, content calendars, goals, to keep my work organized and on track. I call this my work dashboard. I also have one for my everyday life as well. My work dashboard provides a simple overview of everything that I have going on so I can keep track of my progress and stay focused on the tasks that are most important. I've consistently used this system since the end of last year, and I'm certain that I could no longer function without it. I'm just going to provide a quick overview of the system that I use to maintain my notes, my tasks, everything that I do. This might not be for everyone though, but I'm hoping that you can take something from it. I use an online tool called Notion to create this template. It's a very customizable tool where you can add anything that you want. So it could be to-do lists, calendars, Kanban boards, galleries, lists, whatever it is that you want. And there are thousands of templates online that you can copy and use on your own if Notion is of any interest. But you don't have to use Notion to create a functional dashboard or mudroom. You can use a dry erase calendar, you can use an Excel spreadsheet, a bullet journal, a paper planner. Whatever works best for you is exactly what you should use for your dashboard. If you're interested in me releasing my productivity dashboard as a template for your own use, please let me know. I'd be happy to put something together for Excel, Notion. If you're interested in me releasing my productivity dashboard as a template for your own use, please let me know. I'd be happy to put something together for Excel, Notion, fillable PDF, Google Sheets, anything that you use for your convenience. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. Here is a very general overview of what my dashboard looks like. Like I said, I use Notion, so www.notion.so. And this is a really popular tool that people are using, especially in the productivity space online. So there are plenty of videos and templates and blogs that are out there that can help you get something set up for yourself if this template is helpful or is of interest to you. So I like to keep my template very clean and very easy to read. And it might seem overwhelming, but once I go through everything, you're going to see how easy it is to keep everything organized and maintain it. It's really just the setting up of your dashboard that is going to take the most time. Once you have it in place and you have something that you know works for you, it's quick and easy to use. And the system has to be simple and it has to be easy to use so that there's no friction between you and the finished task. If it's not easy to use, you're not going to use it. So it has to be something that you are dedicated to, something that actually adds value to your life. So if you start using Notion and that's not something that has ended up working for you, it's time to switch to a different template. So I put this dashboard together as a way to seamlessly organize and stay up to date with my work, whether that be for day-to-day tasks, so my quick capture tasks, projects that I have going on, content that I'm releasing via social media or email, my department goals, etc. Everything that I need for my job is in one central location that is easy to update and maintain. And it takes me no time at all to add tasks to my to-do list, and it's very easy to stay on track with deadlines. So here's a quick rundown of each section of the dashboard and how I use it. And I just want to go through these so that you can see what kind of content I include on my dashboard so that when you're putting yours together, this is the kind of stuff that you know to include as well. So the first thing you can see, I have a weekly overview right here. And this includes my daily task list separated by the task itself, the date that it needs to be completed, the progress of the task, the priority of the task, and then when it's done, I can click on this checkbox here and it goes away. So the nice thing about this is that, let's say I have write blog post here and I know I shouldn't be doing this today. I want to push it off a couple days. I can click on the date here and say, oh, maybe September 2nd is probably better for me. And then it'll go away and it'll be available for September 2nd. I can also put things like waiting on a response, something that's in progress, whether or not it's done, or maybe it's just captured. Maybe it's just something that I realize I know I have to do, but I haven't made any progress on it yet. So I can see that editing the Monday video, I'm waiting on somebody else for that. So I know I can't do anything with that until I hear back. And then I also put the priority. So the priority is another way that I include context. And then I have it so that this table sorts the priorities. So the highest priority stuff is at the top, lowest priority at the bottom. Right below that, I have my quick capture tool, which opens up and I can add tasks to it. Let's say I'm on a meeting and I know I have to do a small task like, maybe add a person to the website. I know that has to be done, but I'm not ready to put it on my actual to-do list yet. It still needs some context. So I'll put it on here so that I can add to it later. Back on the home page here, on the right-hand side, I also have weekly goals. I typically set 1 to 3 weekly goals. And I make these goals that no matter what happens throughout the rest of the week, if I can get these 3 things done, I feel like I've had a productive week. And throughout the whole week, my goal is to check every single one of these boxes off. So sometimes the goal is something larger, like, release that newsletter, or maybe something smaller, like give this person a call if that call has been, on my to-do list for a long time and I've been pushing it off. Then I can mark it off and say, yep, definitely done now. Same thing here. I also include my weekly wins. So any kind of wins that I have for the week, maybe somebody left me a nice comment on one of my designs, I'll usually put that as a win. It's just nice to see kind of those brags and encourages you to stay motivated on your work. And then lastly, I had something to consider. This is where I typically put some sort of motivational quote. Sometimes I don't do that because sometimes it feels a little hokey, but sometimes I do put a quote there to help me guide me through my week. So that's the week in review. So for example, if you used a paper planner, this might be a good place for you to put like a Post-it note with all of your tasks, maybe another Post-it note with your goals and your wins. Now I have my projects. So in here, I also use another table where I have the project, the deadline for the project, what kind of project it is, the owner of the project, and then when I complete it, I can click done and it goes away. These are also separate pages, so I can open them and add any kind of notes, tables, anything that I want, or I can even do like a little checklist. And that just helps me keep my projects organized, helps me keep all the meeting notes for specific projects organized, deadlines, things like that. That way it's not getting mixed up in the shuffle of a meetings notebook where things tend to get lost. Next, I have all of my notes. So this is my first notebook, and I have a brainstorming notebook where I write down ideas that I have that I'd like to do for later, and sometimes those ideas turn into projects that are future projects. Sometimes they are completely forgotten, but no matter what, they're there. So at any time I can go back and see what I have, what I've thought about in the past and things that I can put action to later. I also have my meeting notes, which when you open up are separated by year and then by month. Next, I have my department goals. So I have all of these pages. I won't open these up because these are personal, but this is where I keep all of the information that I have about my goals for the year. And I include quarterly goals. So I separate all of my yearly goals into quarterly goals so that they're easier to reach. And then last but not least, I have my temporal resets. I mentioned these in our first webinar about doing a quick reset a couple times a week just to make sure that you're on track. So my resets include things like clearing out a public inbox that I have to manage. Maybe it's checking invoices in my mailbox and forwarding those over to accounting, things like that. So that's where I keep all of this information here. And that's it. That's my entire productivity dashboard in just a couple of different sections. My entire work life is located on this dashboard. It's super easy to manage. It's very, very quick to create, and it's definitely something that has worked well for me. And like I said, you don't have to use Notion to maintain a very similar system for yourself. Like I said, you could use a paper planner. You could create kind of a template like this on Excel. You can have just, a piece of paper that you use every single week. Whatever works best for you is what you should be using. But just in case it appeals to anybody else, this is the kind of system that works best for me. And my mom and I always joke that we're very organized people because we're lazy people. We don't want to have to do more work than we have to, so we keep everything streamlined and organized. And like I said, if you're interested in a template like this, just let me know, and I might put something together as a resource to kick off the new year in 2022. All right, I love talking productivity and I love talking organization. So if you want to see more webinars like this, just let me know. Send me an email at jlarkin@brnstone.com. It's right there on the screen for you. And if you have any other build your brand ideas for 2022, just let me know. I'm taking suggestions and brainstorming right now, so it's the perfect time to get those suggestions. Thank you all for joining today. If you have any questions about this webinar or any other webinars in our Build Your Brand series, please feel free to reach out to me, and everyone have a great day. Thank you.